Hello, everybody. Welcome to Frank Sec podcast. How's everybody doing? Because Frank had to remind me to actually show the fuck up.
It's your podcast. How can you
I know.
Up?
I just have the audience. I'm on vacation right now. I'm not doing that well.
Yeah. I have to hold an intervention, man. It's not going to be pretty. I'll fly down there, tape your hands together, put you in the trunk of a car, bring you to a strip club.
Yeah. Well, you don't get that close to me. I have Mary come down and kick my ass.
That's the plan, man. I'm just going to have Mary kick your ass. Although she'd have to get away from Matthew long enough to do it.
Oh, she'd bring Matthew with her. She like pick up Matthew, throw him at me, and beat the shit out of me.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So, what's going on with you other than vacation stuff?
Not a whole lot. I need to sit down and do some organization for something else I'm doing. Maybe I should talk on that offline with y'all.
My picture seems to have frozen in place, and I'm doing like a weird thing with my hand. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I do not know either.
All right.
I'm just here looking at Streamlab and wondering what's going on.
I'm just going to refresh the page.
And you disappeared. All right, now I got to add him back in.
Hey, there we go.
And you're back.
Very good.
And you're back.
There you go. Yeah, so like I put a bunch of stuff in the show notes, and I don't think anybody else is coming. So I can try and go through it, but I don't know if I should because nobody's even watching the YouTube stream. So
No, you have no viewers. Let's check this out. View on YouTube. Who else do we got showing up?
Hey, there's me watching.
Wait,
Uh-oh. I did change that at some point. That's great. All right, so let's go through it. All right. I'm going to try to do this with no feedback from anybody except Adrian.
And I'm going to go off and get some peppermint schnapps. I'll be right back.
Oh, that's great. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. All right. Hello out there in YouTube land. If you're watching this, you're probably watching it not live because I think I'm the only one in there right now. If you stick with me, I will do my best to go through these show notes with you and try and get you up to date on everything that's happening in the world of cyber. The very first article that we have today is about the top 25 vulnerabilities actively abused by Chinese hackers. Adrian, what do you think about Chinese hackers?
I don't think a whole lot about them in general. They seem to have more of an issue with patriotic hackers who will hack for the sake of the patriotic glory of China. I mean, I can think of one U.S. guy who's like that, but I don't get why you be all that happy about being in China?
Yeah.
Seems like a kind of totalitarian regime, keeps your shit down, but they get all rah patriotic about it. I don't understand it.
Well, it's probably because they got a lot of state-sponsored hackers over there. And as far as...
I like being patriotic, being Canadian. I mean, Canadian. Shit.
I don't know. They got maple syrup over there. They got some pretty hot chicks.
I know. The dude I know, Mark tells me that, what is it? Vermont maple syrup is even better than Canadian maple syrup. I don't know.
You know, I've had some real maple syrup recently. It was actually pretty damn good. I've been growing used to the shit that is fake and bottled up. That's pretty much,
that's a lot of that, man.
Yeah, it's just sugar. And having real maple syrup, I can definitely taste the difference. It's a lot better.
I don't know what's up with Americans' corn subsidies. My understanding, that's the reason we have that.
Yeah, so the whole thing with the corn subsidies started out as like a Man, I forgot my history. Shit. It's like giving the farmers money to not grow crops. It's like, hey, don't grow some crops. We're going to give you some money to do that for some reason. And it made sense at that time, and it doesn't make sense to me. But
the Republican side of me goes, what the fuck is this about? Then again, the Republicans aren't about lowering total government expenditures even, despite what they say they are.
Yeah, you should let that Republican out of you, and it might cause you a bellyache.
What should I become instead?
Civil libertarian. Shrink government.
Not most of the libertarian as is, despite what the fuckers online say.
Because she's just nuts.
Who is?
Jo Jorgensen. She's the libertarian candidate.
Yeah, she said a few things that I'm not really in favor of.
Yeah. So right now, the Chinese hackers, they're taking advantage of a whole bunch of vulnerabilities that everybody pretty much knows about. These are not like 0 days. These are vulnerabilities that are out there that anybody can go on Exploit DB and download. We got this Pulse Secure VPN vulnerability that's been around for a while, since 2019. And you got like the F5 Big IP 8 proxy load balancer RCE vulnerability and the Citrix ADC stuff. A lot of Citrix ADC stuff. If your company is running a Citrix ADC and they have not patched, you're going to get pwned. Of course, they also got Bluekeep and they're going after MDM, mobile device management stuff. It's like the shit your company uses to keep all the phones safe. They're going after those servers. They're using some exploits for lateral movement and credentialed access. They got zero login. That's the big one now because you can just pop a DC very easily from any workstation. And you also got Windows NTLM vulnerability that allows you to use some built-in security in the Windows operating system. And you might want to just share my my screen here,
all right,
the middle one, so they can see what we're looking at. Excellent.
Throwing it up.
Thank you.
That didn't sound right, did it? No.
All right. They're also exploiting public-facing servers, right? So you're a dumbass and you got your Windows DNS server exposed to the internet, and
I am definitely a dumbass. So yes.
Yeah, man. If people do it, they're stupid. I don't know why you would manage to do that, but some people do, and they get owned. Mail servers, obviously, you got to have port 25 open on the internet if you want to get email and send email on whatever other port SMTP runs on, like what is it, 113. I know I'm bad. I don't remember my ports right now, but you have to have those open. And if you're monitoring a network and it's got those ports open, you're going to see them getting hit all the time. Nothing you can do about it other than tune it out.
Right, we got a new addition to the cast.
Fucking
I don't know who this name is. Fort Bragg, North Carolina. What the hell?
Yeah, we got the Twitter of all Fort Bragg on here. Does he have a mic? Does she have a mic? Do they have a mic?
Sure.
Mike. All right. Excellent.
How you doing? Who are you? Hello? Fort Bragg, who are you?
Muted his mic.
I am the official Fort Bragg, North Carolina Twitter account.
Oh, excellent. Well, I don't know who the hell you are actually, but welcome to the cast. We're going to continue on. Enjoy the news and comment when you want.
Yep. So, continuing on, we've got exchange vulnerabilities that will allow an authenticated attacker to perform RCE. So essentially, you got to have an account on the box, but if you have any account, even a low-privileged one that can send email, you can take over the exchange server. That's CVE 2020-0688, and Chinese hackers are using that like crazy. We got the Windows subsystem for Linux vulnerability. That's not going to be very useful for many boxes because it's not widely used yet, but there's an issue with the Oracle WebLogic 15 server that uses the thing. All right. Anyway, I got all confused there, and it's WLS and not WSL. So that's not even the same thing. I'm retarded. I apologize. Moving forward, we got vulnerability in Oracle Fusion middleware. That's very easy to exploit. We got some server-side template injection going on with widget. Nobody cares. It's Confluence vulnerability, Grand Crab vulnerability as well, Zoho Management Engine vulnerability, and an ASP.NET Ajax vulnerability. That's what they're using the most. They're also messing with the Windows crypto API spoofing vuln that the NSA found this year, and also using privilege escalation shit. Because of course you're going to use privilege escalation shit. They're targeting semantic messaging gateways. They're using the Cisco CD pwn vulnerability, which takes advantage of the neighbor function in Cisco routers. And they're also using the Draytech router vulnerability. There's like 24 routers out there, all running same firmware, and you can pretty much hone all of them if you can find them. Shut up. Just 1 second. Gotta mute my phone because people do not stop messaging me ever. All right, so that's the top 25 right now that are being used by China. Next, we're going to be talking about TRAT, controlling malware via Telegram, which is a pretty novel command and control infrastructure. As you know, Telegram is one of those encrypted messaging clients. It's kind of similar to Signal or WhatsApp. It's just a way to talk with people. And some researchers have found that there's a thing called TRAT. They're up to version 2.0. And it is able, you can even grab a copy of it, a sample hash, selling on Russian forums. Okay, so it looks like it's ransomware as a service type stuff. You can download it and use it to infect a bunch of people. What's novel about this is just the fact that it's using Telegram for command and control, which is kind of cool when you think about it. Its first stage of infection is a downloader. It's going to grab what looks like a JPEG, but it's not, and it's stored in the temp folder. Then it's going to somehow decrypt it and run it. Yep. It looks to see if you've got admin. If you don't have admin, it tries some other shit. Yep. Goes in and on. Look, there's a whole freaking write-up on this malware. I'm not going to go through it. Nobody cares. But it's really cool if you're interested in this kind of stuff, and you should check it out if you're interested in malware dev. It's a good write-up, so check it out. PayPal is going to be opening up their network to cryptocurrencies. Okay. That means you can just go on PayPal and buy some Bitcoin. Yep. Now, this whole thing, I've seen some criticism about this, and people are saying essentially that PayPal is going to do this for a little while, and then something's going to happen with Bitcoin. It'll be like it'll go super high and then drop down low, and PayPal will be like, fuck this, I'm out. Which is certainly a possibility because cryptocurrencies are extremely volatile compared to traditional currencies. I
haven't looked into investing in that. I mean, and people give me shit because I haven't looked enough into that, and I probably need to talk to Nathan about that particular issue. But I have most of my money in traditional banks and traditional mutual funds and shit.
That's probably the safe way to go. I fool around with Bitcoin, but I don't have a lot of money in it. You know, it's more of just like a hobby. You know, put $100 in one day and then see if it goes up $5 or down $8.
By the way, I put it out the general invite just to join this fucking chat so we have more people.
Yeah, nobody.
Brad, do you have anything to say yourself? I don't recognize the names. So I don't know if you're someone I actually know.
Yeah, I'm the official Fort Bragg, North Carolina Twitter account.
All right, you're just soldier station now? Are you just a soldier? I think Fort Bragg. I think of some soldier station.
That's hilarious.
Is that wrong?
No, I mean that's pretty much all he's going to say if you ask him any questions.
I don't know what all particular branches of the military are stationed there. Marines, Army. Who I don't know.
Well, Fort Bragg, North Carolina is a military installation in the United States Army in North Carolina and is one of the largest military installations in the world with around 57,000 active military personnel.
Welcome to the cast. We perfectly welcome all military brothers. How you doing? Okay, say something interesting, motherfucker.
Check Twitter.
Check Twitter. I check my Twitter. My Twitter is usually filled with shit that pisses me off, though.
Yeah. Twitter makes me want to drink. All right. Moving
Right
on.
now, I'm exchanging love notes with one of my Indian buddies who's living in Canada. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, Sonny, you can join the cast too if you ever fucking want to pick up the damn mic.
All right. So, that's pretty much the gist of the article right there. PayPal will have cryptocurrency, and you can buy it in PayPal. And they're also going to, of course, report everything that you buy to the government so the government can tax your cryptocurrency, which sounds like tons of fun. Next article is going to be talking about Microsoft and Kubernetes. Now, Microsoft has been diving into the free and open source community quite a bit lately. A lot of people think eventually they're just going to replace the whole kernel with the Linux kernel. It might happen someday. You never know. But they're making some strides with Kubernetes, which is not. I don't use Kubernetes, so I can't really explain what the hell it is. From what I think it is a thing that you use to manage a bunch of Docker containers. But I'm probably wrong. Anybody know? Adrian, what's Kubernetes do?
I don't know. I just know it's a really annoying person in InfoSec who talks about it a lot.
You mean the one who secures it for a living?
Supposedly, yes.
Yeah, that person. Anyway, so Microsoft's making a bit of a dive into
Kubernetes. Show notes, man. What the fuck is all these extra letters and shit in? Are you viewing this in editor mode or in direct mode?
Direct mode.
I'll
turn it to.
Can you remove all these extra letters that don't actually have anything connected to them?
You mean the I's?
Well, I mean, like I see like a D, an E, and an F that's hanging there with no actual things connected to them.
Oh, you mean at the bottom there?
And I can start editing them, but you won't see it. What the fuck? The show notes are fucked.
It's fine. I can't even claim that I was like drunk when I made them. I was completely sober.
I'm drunk and I'm looking at them, and I still find it fucking annoying.
That's fine.
All right, view in edit mode so you can see what the fucking changes I make as in real time.
I'm in edit mode. I'm always in edit mode.
Like I see this WXZAABB. What the fuck is this?
What the fuck are you talking about? I don't see any of this.
I don't know. Look at the notes. The notes have all these like extra letters in them that have nothing attached to them, and I'm like confused.
Where? Look at your screen. You can see my screen on your screen. Do you see what you're talking about when you look at it over here?
What view are you at? Scroll down a little more. No, I don't see it on your screen. I see it on my screen though.
All right, so you need to take your screen and throw it out the window and get a new screen.
All I know is I see like, Google pulls ad block that collects user data. Then I see a bunch of WXZ, WXYZ.
F5, Adrian.
What view are you looking at this shit in?
I'm looking at it in edit mode. You can see that I'm looking at it in edit mode. It's right here. It says editing, and you can see my screen.
All right. I will try to correct. Wait. It's not even letting me backspace over shit. What the hell is wrong with my machine?
Press F5.
Oh, God. You become an end user when you're drunk, Adrian.
I'm a boomer. Technically, I'm supposed to be Generation X, but I feel like a boomer right now.
You just turn into an end user. You go from like support admin to end user. You lose your admin rights.
Wait. Jack is in the fucking comments. Jack, come the fuck into the stream, because we love you, Jack.
Press F5.
All right, next we've got that sounds a lot like Will. Anyway, we've got Adobe fixes 16 critical code execution bugs across portfolio. So out-of-band patches follow a lighter than usual patch Tuesday earlier this month. Adobe has released 18 out-of-band patches. Now, by out-of-band patches, they mean patches for products that they don't actually support anymore, like the old copies of Illustrator, for instance, that was hit the hardest. This is like when Microsoft releases Windows XP patches, despite the fact they don't support Windows XP anymore, because something so bad happens, they have to release a patch for it. So these are some critical patches they released, some affecting Adobe Illustrator, others affecting different products of theirs, because all of their products are always vulnerable to something. Even their PDF reader is just a fucking disaster.
Wait, Can't-Man, my wife says no? I didn't know Jack got married. Shit. Well, congratulations.
He's been married.
Well, I thought he was just dating various women. Or one woman. I honestly don't follow Jack's
His wife doesn't know about that.
marital situation that well.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Jack.
Yeah, we won't tell your wife about your girlfriends. It's fine.
Okay.
Anime for Windows also.
He lives near me. He might kick my ass. And I'm a big guy, but
good. You know,
he's former military and in better shape than I am. So, he might whoop my ass. I don't want that to happen.
All right. After Effects, Photoshop, Premiere, Media Encoder, all these things they needed to patch, and they patched them. And now they're patched, which is good. Also, Flash Player, because people still use Flash Player because they think it's still 1998. Chrome has it built in, so that's one reason to have it. But other than that, if you're actually installing Flash Player nowadays, you're just an idiot. All right, moving forward. Ransomware Gang decides to play Robin Hood and donates their stuff to charity. They donated $10,000 it received from ransom demands to Children International and the Water Project. I guess they felt bad.
I always question non-profitables as being questionable as far as how the money is spent.
Yes. So there's actually a website you can go to that will tell you the rating of a nonprofit as far as how much of the money they take in is actually spent on what they're supposed to be doing with it versus how much is spent on administrative overhead. And you'll be surprised that a lot of places like Susan G. Komen for The Cure spend like 80% of what they take in on advertising to get more money.
Yeah, I'm questionable of all that shit. And welcome to the chat,
Delchi. That's AP Delchi. All right. So the ransomware group is going by the name Darkside. I wonder if they took that from Star Wars or from Kevin Mitnick taking it from Star Wars when he called himself a Darkside hacker.
Kill all the younglings.
Yes, I agree.
And flush twice.
Okay, Will. I love you too, man.
Wait, is Will, who is Fort Bragg Twitter? Who's
fairly sure, but not 100%.
I'm the official Fort Bragg, North Carolina Twitter.
We still love you, Will, because you have the ability, even though you have the same sites we have, you have the ability to extract more information from them than most of us do. I don't know how you do it, but you can find shit on people.
Internet.
I know how Will does it. I'll show you. Will reads books like this one. Yep, that's how he does it, man. He reads all the books, learns all the things, and uses what he learns to hack all the things.
I use Google.
Google's hard, man. All right.
Man, I'm having some serious bodily fucks right here. Oh, man, not good.
Okay, Google, turn out the lights.
That's not the worst thing you can do with that.
You can tell, like, if they've got Alexa, you can just tell it to buy shit off Amazon. You're like, buy a whole bunch of toilet paper, Alexa.
Please.
How about you run up to somebody randomly on the street and yell, "Okay, Google, safe search off, goatsy, goatsy, goatsy," and then run away. Try that.
You think the artwork have commission from Mary, right? a goat sees a blue waffle at a living party.
Yeah, I actually commissioned something from Mary too.
Mary does good artwork. I mean, she's cartoony stuff. It's very good. It's good. I'm still working on getting her to make me a Jason Voorhees hedgehog.
Wow, I am glad I did not open that link in the chat window. All right, moving forward, we've got some Google Chrome security updates that are patching some 0 days, because if they're calling it a 0 day, it's not really a 0 day, it's really a 1 day, but they're patching it, which is good. So there's a memory corruption bug in font rendering library in standard Chrome distributions. Font vulnerabilities are excellent, and they go back many, many years, because reasons. So some people from Project Zero, that's Google's internal security team, well, one of them, found this, and they decided to patch it now. And I don't see anything about there being any proof of code for this. So proof of code, that's not a thing. Proof of concept. Brain farts.
Remember, it's 2020. You can make up anything you want.
That's true, especially if you're an InfoSec. People
exactly. I can give you a really wonderful example. I took a certification test recently, and they asked me a question about if you are targeting the CEO of a company with a fake email, trying to get them to click on something, what is it called? A, B, C, D. And, of course, I selected phishing, right? Because that's what it is.
It is.
Unfortunately, I got it wrong.
Because they make up their own terms, and then you have to study their answer keys to pass their test.
They call it whaling. If you're hitting anybody at the sea level or above, it's whaling, not phishing.
What the fuck is whaling? This is the first time I've ever even heard of this term.
I thought that was going after fat chicks.
This is Sec Plus from CompTIA. The bare bones entry level. You must have this if you want to wash dishes at the ISP.
Yeah, I have that from many, many, many years ago. I don't think it's still valid.
It's still a requirement for some government work. Most government work, that is absolutely minimum you have to have.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I've got the CEH, which everyone makes fun of me for, because I can't pass my OSCP because I'm lame.
You can't go to DEF CON.
Exactly. Well, I'll have to show my boobs, then I can go.
Well, no, you can't, because it's against their code of ethics to associate with known hackers. And guess what? There are hackers at DEF CON. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, no.
But do they have boobs in Magic Springs?
Hey, look, I've got boobs, and nobody wants to see them, so I don't know what this boob thing is all about.
Me too. Mine are exceptionally hairy. My nipples are very pink.
I thought that was actually pretty clever, that chick showing her tits to get to DEF CON. I mean, we got all these people now. They're all about, empowering women. And for some reason that includes sex workers, which I don't quite get, but they're like, it's empowering. And if you want to show your tits, I'm all for it, man.
Well, empowering sex workers is just legitimizing them like they should have been years ago. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people are like, legalize marijuana, but not wanting to legalize prostitution. And I'm like,
I get the whole wanting to legalize prostitution thing, but I don't get the whole let's encourage my daughter to be a prostitute thing.
Well, that's a fair point, but it's like if they decide to do that, supposedly in theory, you're supposed to encourage them.
I disavow everything. It's my cat. I disavow everything.
They actually hit that. They hit that in Family Guy a couple of years ago when they did a parody of what was that Robin Williams film with all the poetry and shit, Dead Poets Society. And, they said, I want to be a prostitute. Well, you be the best damn prostitute you can. And they all stood up and said, oh, Captain, my Captain.
All right. So our next article is from SC Magazine. It's called Whaling Scams Use Redirect to Steal Office 365 and Facebook Credentials. Yeah, it really said phishing scams, but I changed it because I wanted to be funny. All right. So researchers have warned of two massive phishing operations, collectively targeting hundreds of thousands of users, one seeking credentials for business services such as Office 365 and the other abusing Messenger to go after roughly 450,000 of the social media giants' account holders. That's a lot. So according to F-Secure, I can't pronounce this. Cryzos, I don't know. Whatever. CRYXOS Trojans are typically used to conduct call support scams. They'll display one of those notifications like in Chrome or IE or Firefox, and it'll just say shit like, your computer's infected, call this number. And then you call the number, and guess what happens? You're a dumbass. And
you get connected to like Microsoft tech support. I'm to be helping you with computer now to start to be connecting to my computer so I may help you.
Now download the remote program that says it is a trial.
Oh, hell. I mean, I used to get a lot of those Indian support scams, and then I called one of them Indian, and I found out they were actually Pakistani, and they got really pissed off at me.
Oh, that's something you don't want to do. I called the guy out, and I said, you're trying to scam me, but I got to tell you, I'm really impressed. And he's like, oh? Well, yeah, I mean, anybody who can run a scam like this on a laptop while riding an elephant has got some serious skill.
Yeah, I tried to have phone sex with a couple of them. Like,
And now I'm reaching for my wallet. Yeah, I'm pulling out $100 bill. Ooh.
Yeah. So essentially, this is a scam that would start with a Facebook message, right? And you get this message from somebody because they would have already infected that person, and now they're just branching out, right? And then you click it. It looks like a YouTube video, but then it does a pop under or whatever the fuck it is, and then you get this tech support scam. They're trying to shut it down. They say Facebook shut it down before. That only means that they blocked the link they were using, and they can just get another link. I mean, it's not that hard to toss up another domain. All right. So this one I found pretty interesting. It is the cybersecurity community demands transparency, not legal threats. So if you ever done like a bug bounty, you probably did the whole thing where you signed up and the company gave you permission, and you could these sites that were in domain that were in scope. And if you went outside of the scope, you would not get the money for the bug bounty. And then some people don't even look for companies that are actively doing bug bounties. They'll just find shit, and then they notify the company and hope for the best. But when you do that, sometimes the companies are assholes, and they threaten you with their legal team. So this is a little article here about this kind of shit. So it's Palo Alto sent a cease and desist letter demanding a comparison be removed. And the comparison was between Orca Cloud security platform and other tools, including their Prisma tool, right? And rather than be like, hey, we don't think that's a fair review, they just sent the lawyers after them. That is just one example of this kind of shit, but this kind of shit happens all the time in our community, where rather than try and resolve a problem the correct way, companies take the nuclear option and sick the lawyers on you.
No, fuck that.
Yeah, man, it happens. Look, when I do never mind.
You did the bug bounty thing for a little bit.
I've done a few, but I'm not very good at it like other people are. I found something. They're usually low shit like cross-site scripting, and the company usually doesn't want to pay for cross-site scripting shit.
Yeah, my buddy Phones to Cash does a lot of that stuff. My understanding in the past. I'm not sure he does much of it now, but that's what he used to do.
But when I find something, whether it's a big thing or a little thing, and the company doesn't have like a bug bounty, and I want to contact their security department, I tend to send them an email from an email address I just made up for this purpose. And then I don't link it to any of my other shit. And it's like, I'll let you know, but I don't want you coming after me for it. So
Gotcha.
There are a lot of people out there too. I had to deal with the receiving end of this at one of my previous jobs. And there are a lot of people out there in India, in Pakistan, in Uzbekistan that just run Nessus scans, send you an email, and expect a check in the mail. And they get really, really, really annoying after a while.
right.
I kind of understand going, not going nuclear, but I do understand. I have some empathy for companies that say, yeah, well, you gotta, stay within the bounds of reality and don't do this and don't do that.
Right. But I mean, sometimes you can chain exploits together, but if the initial exploit you used to get in was something like cross-site scripting, they'll just deny the whole fucking thing. It's like, yeah, I started off with cross-site scripting, and I was able to get an admin to click this link in an email, and I then got access to the admin control panel, and from there, I uploaded a PHP file, and then I got a shell in the box, and then I did privilege escalation, and whatever the fuck it is. They don't want it. It's like tough scope.
Well, if they're using anything that has an admin control panel, they can't be all that serious in the first place.
That was.
I mean, that's my personal opinion, but I mean, if you're going to use WordPress, that's the great big neon sign over your head that says, "Please hack me."
Right, and a lot of companies will just toss up a WordPress site. Even some really reputable companies use WordPress, like Trusted Sec. They use WordPress, but the thing is that it's not the most secure platform. And that actually brings me to something in our show notes, which I'm just going to skip to because that was a really good segue to it.
Wait, we had someone pop in and then his face went off. Zuo. His face was on there for a second, then he disappeared after I added him to the cast.
Maybe he's shy.
We still love you, Zuo. Coming back on.
Maybe he forgot his camera was on.
Possibly so.
All right. So if you use WordPress to host your site, you use plugins, and you don't have something that updates those plugins automatically, and there are a bunch of different things that will update those plugins automatically for you, you're looking for a bad time. And also, if you think you're being clever and going on like the Pirate Bay and grabbing a bunch of WordPress themes and plugins and shit and then using them on your site, you're a complete fucking moron, because all those things are either out of date or just backdoored. So a lot of people have really vulnerable WordPress sites.
So I shouldn't run all those EXEs I see in various midget foot porn stuff that I torrent.
No, man. Even if it's a really good dating simulator, you still shouldn't run that EXE.
Oh, okay. Thanks for the tip.
Just a tip.
You gotta love dating simulators.
All right. So WordPress, right? They usually do not do shit like this, but they said fuck it, and across their paid platform decided to massively just fix a bug that would let people. There's like an SQL injection bug, and they just fixed it. They're like, fuck, we're just gonna fix it everywhere. And this plugin called Loganizer that like 1 million people are using. They're like, you know what? We're not going to check in with these people first. We're not going to tell them, hey, we're updating your shit. They just fixed it and didn't say anything. Because
actually, most of the security problems with WordPress, it's not so much directly WordPress, but it's usually the plugins, isn't it?
Yes. So most of the WordPress vulnerabilities you're going to find are going to be in the plugins. And even things like WP Scan can enumerate what plugins are on your WordPress instance. So if you are a dumbass and you're running a bunch of vulnerable plugins, you're going to get owned. And hopefully, if you're hosting your shit on WordPress's platform, their paid platform, they have a way to directly install plugins, but you can also upload your own plugins. So people will upload their own plugins, and then those plugins don't ever get updated. So when they uploaded it, it's fine, right? It's not vulnerable as far as they know. But then a year goes by, and somebody finds a vulnerability in it, and it doesn't get patched on their box. It just sits there forever. And eventually somebody scans the machine and they're like, oh, look, there's all this vulnerable shit. Look, I can take over this WordPress site. And they do.
What the fuck is Zuo trying to do? Zuo's trying to throw like weird cross-site scripting shit into his name. Zuo, just join the fucking chat and talk to us.
So he was fucking around with StreamYard.
Now it's like script.
He's trying to do the SQL type bullshit. SQL.
Just join the fucking chat, motherfucker.
No, that's like a JavaScript alert type thing right there. All right. Anyway, in Loganizer, there was some SQL injection. It was a WordPress plugin. 1 million people had it installed. They fixed it. Then after they fixed it, they sent out an email, said, we fixed it for you. But some users were pretty pissed about this because they, for whatever reason, wanted their plugins not to be touched by WordPress. So
I just added somebody, and I think I added somebody who's just fucking around. Wait.
What the fuck?
Right. Whose screen should I be adding right now?
Me. Frank.
All right. I got yours up now.
Excellent. All right. So, anyway, they just fixed it, and they don't normally do that, which is it's kind of a big deal. Next, Microsoft is claiming they took down 94% of TrickBot last week. We talked about Microsoft's failed assassination attempt on our cast last week. Right. So a lot of people are kind of calling them out on this one because they're like, we took down 94% of the C2 servers. Right. And they got all this shit about it. Right. And then you go on InfoSec Twitter and people are saying that's not really the case.
InfoSec Twitter sucks, but continue.
That is true, but some of them are actually know things. It's like they are lamers, but they know things.
And I think I got Zoo back in the chat. Hey Zoo, you want to say anything to us?
He just wants to sit there and try.
Wait, technically, aren't lamers who know things script kiddies? Technically,
Nah, guys, really, I'm just trying to play around with this Irongeek cast and this StreamYard thingy. I've just seen your tweet and just wanted to join and see what's going on here.
Well,
So
hello,
that's-
sir. Welcome to the chat.
Hey.
Oh my god, are you a hacker? Can you teach me to hack all the things?
Nah, I'm doing it every
we
day.
know-
It's boring. It's
No,
boring.
you know who this
Are
is.
you a French? Are you a French gentleman? Your accent sounds vaguely French.
But the French, I was working with French people for a lot of years, but I'm Polish, to be honest.
You're Polish. Well, welcome to the cast.
Welcome to the cast.
Hey.
You know, he sounds vaguely like Ramsey. Remember hacking with Ramsey?
We accept everybody here.
Oh my
Nope.
god, hacking with Ramsey, that brings me back. That's
Nope.
that's the guy who that's Kevin. What's his name?
It was from the show called The Broken.
The Broken. Yeah.
But
I've seen it.
I'll tell you what, The Broken.
Wow. But it was
To
like
this
ages
day,
ago.
The Broken still had the best video intro of any hacker-oriented show I've ever seen ever.
Yeah, I think we should try and look up an old episode of The Broken just for the hell of it.
You can still get the older stuff.
What's that guy's name? Kevin.
Was it Polson or something like that?
Oh,
Awesome.
this is the Kevin who started Reddit. Fuck, I don't know.
Kevin Rose.
Act 5.
That's it, Kevin Rose. Right. They used to sit there and drink 40s of Old English and talk about hacking.
There we go.
This is the best opening ever.
Kick back, watch it crumble. See the drowning, watch it fall. I feel just terrible about it. That's sarcasm. Let it rain my glass from my heart. There's so much doubt. That's I can't. I'm being one when it all ceremony goes. So we all know that it music industry and it destroys itself. We'll tell them how it's supposed to be.
I feel old.
Welcome to The Broken. I am Kevin Rose. I'm Dan Heward, also known as Double D. This is our first episode ever. Sure. This is a little different than your average computer show. This is a little underground. It's a little shady. It's a little borderline illegal, but we like to call it The Broken. Let's get things started.
We can stop it at that point.
Is how we like to do it. There we
I
are.
think Frank went to go get it a pee.
And cheers to that. Yeah. Let's give this a little go.
I can't believe I'm as old as I am. Shit.
We got a great show for you today. Today
All right.
we're going to be showing you wireless hacking. We're going to be showing
That's enough Broken for you. If you want to watch the rest of it, go and watch it on your own time. For now, you're stuck with us in our shitty cast talking about stuff.
But still, hacking with Ramsey was one of the best things.
We're on the Frank cast. It's all
in a long
good.
time.
'Cause we love you, Frank. We love you long time. Mm-hmm. Next time I see you at a conference, I smuggle up to you. Mm-hmm.
All right, so this article caused me a fight between me and somebody on Twitter because reasons. So Google has removed 2 ad blocking extensions from the Chrome store, right? Now, people get a little bit pissy when Google does stuff like taking away ad blocking extensions because they're taking away my rights, man. I don't want to see ads. But these extensions suck ass because they were collecting all your data and they were storing it and using it for whatever the fuck they were using it for. So they were taking your IP, your country, OS details, websites you were visiting, timestamps, all this shit, right? They were storing it. They were keeping it. Google figured it out, and they disabled the ad blocking extensions. And then somebody made a comment on Twitter about this, about how you should just use a pie hole. And somebody else was like, yeah, but then every time you want to block something, you got to log into it, and it takes like 3 minutes to block something. And yada, yada, yada. And I suggested that you should just make an extension that automatically blocks stuff on a pie hole. And then InfoSec A-lister decided to tell me that was a stupid idea.
Well, the problem that I had with that was ad blocker detection. I mean, Pi-hole doesn't get snagged by ad blocker detection. And if you had a plugin that passed things to Pi-hole, somebody would write an ad blocker Pi-hole extension catcher, and then where would you be?
It's a cat and mouse game, man.
Not with Pi-hole just by itself, they can't detect that shit.
Like, you can even run, if you're running a Windows box, you can even run Pi-hole right on your Windows machine if you don't mind turning on Hyper-V, and then you can run the Docker container, because Docker requires Hyper-V on Windows.
Fuck Docker, fuck containers, all that Kuberite bullshit. No, I'm sorry. I just can't stand that stuff anymore. That's.
Did you know that you could have a Docker container in your Docker container?
Yeah, well, you know what docking is, right?
Oh shit!
Yeah, why don't you go look that up on Urban Dictionary? And
I know.
I'm just saying, I run Pi-hole on a Raspberry Pi that covers both of my home networks. So www.wtf.com.
Oh,
why reach up your ass to scratch your nose?
Why did I look this up? I wish I had not. That's just too much information.
I'm with the old and old school, so you can't trust anything I tell you about that. You shouldn't look those things up.
I'm just going to take a Cleveland steamer on your chest. All right.
Oh, okay. Easy there, Dirty Sanchez.
All right.
I'm having 2000 flashbacks.
All right. So that's all of our InfoSec news, right? Oh, no, it's not, because I skipped a whole bunch of shit. Excellent. All right. So
don't forget about Fort Bragg in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Who did they shoot this time?
All right.
They didn't shoot. They accidentally tweeted to a porn chick and had to delete their whole account.
That's hilarious.
To a foreign? How do you define a foreign chick?
Porn.
A porn chick, not a foreign chick.
Oh.
Maybe it's a foreign porn chick, but probably just a porn chick.
So somebody at Fort Bragg is into porn. Ooh. Shocker.
Somebody at Fort Bragg who manages their Twitter account, or at least has access to it, tweeted to a porn star. That's great.
That's what happens when you lock a bunch of men up in a room together and make them shower.
Well, they did it twice, and then they said they were hacked, and then they removed their account.
We were hacked. All right. Did you grab their handle? Because that would be hilarious.
What, the porn star or?
No.
Yeah, Fort Bragg, NC.
Excellent. All right. Who's a dumbass and has users? Let me rephrase that. Who has dumbass users who upload all of their documents, like doc files? Like, I want this doc to be a PDF. So let me go to this random ass website and upload this company document, right, to some random site, and I'll get a PDF back. Right.
Government. That is 98% of the government right there. because they have to go through so much wankable horse shit to get a doc to PDF converter that they can't have it, and they get blocked and they get written up. So they just go online and type doc to PDF, and they get www.doctopdf.ru, and they send all their shit over there, and then it turns into a big leak. Any company that like, well, first of all, it's a loaded question because you said, who here has dumb users? Yeah. Everybody's got dumb users.
Well, I want people to relate to what I'm talking about. That's why I phrased it that way.
Yeah, but I mean, all users, I mean, there is a learning curve. I like to have that sign that says you must be this tall to ride the internet. But, a lot of times when you deny people stuff, they get all self-important and full of EST and go, well, I'll just go somewhere on the net and do it for free.
Yeah, I actually know exactly what you're talking about. I worked for local government, and we would have users who request, like, I want you to install Foxit PDF converter, right? And I'd go and I'd get permission from their supervisor, and then I'd install it. And then 2 days later, they get hit with a pop-up saying there's a new version, and they want me to come back and update it now. And there's no patch management built in the government, so it's need admin rights to do everything, and it's not bad. Anyway, I see why they use those kind of sites. Anyway, so somebody did a little bit of research, and they found that these kind of sites tend to be vulnerable to SSRF attacks. All right. So if a hypothetical user is let me rephrase that. So a bunch of the libraries they use are open to JavaScript execution. So I'm sorry, I'm having some gas here. I really apologize.
Fart.
All right. No, other end. So they were able to successfully generate PDFs containing the password file, exfiltrated from the server in all 5 instances using XML HTTP request object, and failed to. All right, that would be on a Linux box, obviously. But some attack scenarios, right? A pretty straightforward example is an arbitrary file read where an adversary could obtain config files, PII, or even application source code. Some people at Tempest have found that this information, an attacker essentially can get RCE from these kind of sites, on these kind of sites. Anyway, fix your code. So Tempest are, of course, the people who make Burp Suite, the ones who steal like $600 from me every year. And I hardly ever even use it. All right. So there's that article. I did a shit job explaining that. That's wonderful. If you want to know about that, you go read that article because I did a horrible job reading it. So we got some hackers targeting Cisco shit again. So CVE 2020-3118 affects multiple carrier-grade routers running Cisco iOS XR software. The flaw resides in CDP, Cisco Discovery Protocol, and could allow for an unauthenticated adjacent attacker to execute arbitrary code or cause a reload of an affected device. So essentially, if you're on the same network as a Cisco device that's vulnerable to this and it's running CDP, Cisco Discovery Protocol, which most people keep on for no reason, because whatever. They keep it on because they want to know what other devices are around. You can essentially pop the router. And if you can pop the router, there's a lot of stuff you can do. You can hop VLANs, you can just be an asshole and make so nobody doesn't work. Tons of fun you can do by popping the router. All these vulnerabilities collectively are known as CDPWN. That's what the researcher is calling them. And there's a whole nice little video here about how it works.
Armis has identified 5 critical zero-day vulnerabilities in the Cisco Discovery Protocol, or CDP, impacting tens of millions of enterprise devices, such as IP phones and cameras, as well as switches and routers. Dubbed CDPWN, the vulnerabilities allow for complete takeover of the devices by leveraging the CDP protocol, and impacts all Cisco 7800 and 8800 IP phones, Cisco IP cameras, Nexus switches, and iOS XR routers, among others. A full list is available on the Armis website.
That video goes on a while, but we're not going to watch it. That's got some pretty high production value right there for a announcement of an exploit. So yeah, people are popping Cisco shit. It's not a surprise. It's like the most common enterprise kind of router that there is, so it's kind of expected people are going to be popping them. All right, ransomware variants continue to evolve as crooks chase bigger paydays. Hopefully that does not autoplay. Two new families of ransomware have risen up to join some of the most dangerous over the last few months as cybercriminals turn the screw to make attacks more effective. Okay, so some researchers at Digital Shadows have found over the last 3 months that ransomware attacks combined with data dumps associated with those 4 families of ransomware, the Maze, Sodinokibi, Conti, and Netwalker strains. Essentially, when you see a ransomware attack now from these 4 guys, you're also going to see data exfiltration and an attempt to sell them back access to their own data. Otherwise, they're going to sell off your data. It's just the way it works now. Like ransomware used to just be encrypting the computer and then be like, you want your shit back, give us money. Now it's more than that. It's like we're gonna not only encrypt all your shit locally, but we're gonna make a copy of it. And then you want your data back? We'll give you your data back. We'll give you the encryption key. But if you don't want us to sell it to somebody else, you got to pay us even more money. And then you got to trust that they're not going to still sell it anyway, despite you giving them more money. That's
okay.
Really-
I made the mistake of putting this out public. The link for the StreamYard's anal burn cover. Say hello and who the hell? What the hell are you about?
I'm an album cover.
You're an album cover. Okay, let's continue.
What did you pop another browser open, or just go in private mode in the same browser?
I think the question is, which album cover is it? Are we talking Nazareth, Hair of the Dog, or some Megadeth, or what? What's the album cover?
Queen's Greatest Hits.
Ooh, very nice. Now, if it was News of the World, I would have given you some applause, but Greatest Hits, that's noteworthy.
All right. I think despite he's trolling us, right, we still should be kind of honored that he's here because he's like a fucking legend, right? All right. Netwalker shifted from the mass distribution of ransomware to a more clinical approach while targeting specific large organizations. And so did other freaking people, because that's what they do.
So what, is it no longer ransomware? They now call it underwear or something?
That would be awesome.
Really
But
targeting people? I mean...
So this is like whaling versus fishing. You know, I don't know if you know about this, but if you're fishing somebody who happens to be like a sea level or above, it's called whaling, not fishing.
Oh, well, let me ask you something. If you get somebody on the phone and you convince them to give them your credit card, them to give you your credit card number, is it called social engineering?
It depends on the context.
It's called vishing. VISHING.
I actually have heard vishing before. Actually, I heard Chris Hadnaggy use that term, so it must be legit.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to scratch my balls now.
You guys are such a class act.
All right. There, my balls are a little hairy right now. I mean,
Let me tell you something. You guys, you have not yet had the beautiful, wonderful experience of sitting in a power wheelchair with your balls hanging out and going like down a 10-foot run stretch of open airspace. To feel that rush of air is just like nothing else.
And live beef has entered the room.
Thank fucking God. Okay. All right. Barnes & Noble got hit by ransomware. Remember when you used to go to a store to buy books instead of just getting them off Amazon? Well, there are still some of those around. And yeah, man. So
have you seen one of the more popular books over there at Barnes and Noble?
why don't you tell me what they are?
It's a blank book, black leather-bound book that you keep your passwords in.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
It literally says, password storage book on it, and it's got 50 pages, and it's got URL and user ID and password in it.
Hey, I mean, a password book's not a bad idea.
Hey, I'm clever. I just keep them all in an open tab in Notepad++.
I'm just saying it's one step above the Post-it note underneath the keyboard, but
Well, that's still better than reusing passwords, to be entirely honest.
Oh yeah,
a lot better.
I think maybe even a reasonable password manager might be a little better, but just
Oh,
maybe.
of course, but I'm trying to think like. People I know who write down their passwords in a book are people like in their late 50s or 60s, and I encourage them to do this rather than reuse passwords.
I'm 51 and I don't do that shit.
Wow,
Well, they're also not technical people. You keep it in an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, I'm just saying that 50. I keep getting hit by all of these stereotypes.
I said late 50s.
Well, I'll tell you what, 51 is late 50s if you're just feeling me, because that's what it feels like.
Oh, come on, man.
Look, 20 years from now, when you hit 50, you'll understand what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm aware that age only goes one way.
All right, this is great. So with Barnes and Noble, right? They have a flat network, and all their stores were affected by the same virus, and that's great. And also, it affected the cash registers, and they couldn't place orders, so they were completely out of commission. And then it also affected the Nook lending library. So people who had the
12 people who still have Nooks.
Yeah, so people still have Nooks. I mean, even I have a Kindle at this point.
I have a Nook because I hacked it and turned it into a regular tablet because it was cheap because no one's using them anymore.
Well, that sounds like a good use.
It's an excellent use. It's a great way to keep point of porn with you when you're on the go.
Does it have like an e-ink display, or is it a regular display?
No, it's a regular. I don't do that e-ink thing. That disco ball flash just kills you.
I have like a regular Kindle, and I have the e-reader thing. I think they call it Paperwhite, and I like the Paperwhite because like the battery will last 2 weeks on a charge.
Yeah, your battery will last forever. Do you still have to like flash the whole page every time it changes the page?
They've got better with page transitions and stuff.
Yeah, you do a page transition, the whole page turns black for a second, and then you get your page.
Not anymore. It's fairly seamless now.
That was the one thing I hated about Paperwhite was you had to have that little disco ball flash every time you turned a page.
You can even read it in the freaking sun, which I thought is amazing.
Oh yeah. You can read it in the men's bathroom over at the city park. I mean, and it's an anywhere readable thing.
Doing that when I was at the men's bathroom in Central Park when I was going for the glory hole the other day.
Oh, really? So you ran into what's his name from Wham, right?
Exactly. He was there.
I'm mostly worried about most of the e-readers. I don't want marketing. I don't want marketers to track what page I'm on. I don't like the thought that they're going to make more formulaic books to make them low risk for investors. No, fuck that shit. If I'm going to get an e-reader, I want them purely local.
I bought an old ass iPad and I do nothing with it but read comic books and just watch Apple fanboys eat their own shit. Just going ape nuts. Like, all you use that for is comic books? And I'm like, well, yeah. And they explode.
Is there an e-reader that, e-reader store option is purely local, or is every single e-reader like you must consent to them tracking what page you're on?
Oh, I have both. I mean, I have stuff that I download that I put on there that I can just use a generic reader on.
Oh, yes. I mean, store itself. Yes, you can. For niche areas, yes, you can absolutely buy
e-books. Technical term is side loading.
Yes.
See, I'm certified.
I spent like 4 hours with my old Kindle, like the regular kind that's Android, trying to get rid of their stupid lock screen ads, right? And finally, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. And I just spent $15 and had them take it off.
Yeah, if you call them and bitch enough, they'll take it off for free.
And I have I have an autistic friend, like literally on the spectrum. There is nothing he will rage about more than his fucking Kindle having ads. He's literally destroyed 3 Kindles because he's unable to find a way to remove the ads, and he keeps yelling at this Indian tech support person who will never help him on the phone.
Literally, just from your Amazon account, you go in and there's an option if you dig deep enough in the settings.
The thing is, a lot of people are getting body slammed with that, and here's why. Okay, it's a fine print thing with Amazon. You will see all kinds of deals on cheap Amazon readers, right? Their Kindles or whatever, and it's like, you get it for $19.95, and then in the tiny print it says includes special offers, which means we are going to jam ads up your ass. And the only way you can get rid of it is by telling them to get rid of it, or you'll return it. Or you say, I'm already a Prime member, I'm already a Kindle member. How many times am I have to pay you and still see ads? And they go to customer retention and they go, oh, we'll take care of that right away. And clickety clack, and then they're gone. It's just really sad. Amazon has been really, really pushing the ads lately, and it sucks monkey nuts.
So
I know I spent a lot of freaking money on Amazon Prime Day. I wasted so much money.
Oh yeah, I mean the thing is things on Amazon Prime Day are a great deal. Shit, there's things every day. Have you seen all the different little rabbit holes Amazon has for cheap shit like that? There's like Amazon Warehouse, Amazon Reconditioned, Amazon Reloved. You can even do used clothing, on Amazon now. Or they have this thing called Amazon Wardrobe where you rent clothes for a while.
What?
Yep.
Okay, that reminds me of my cousin in Israel who, when they were visiting, they told me that in Israel they no longer accept returns for clothes and shoes because there was a bit of a habit there people had of buying clothing, not removing the tag, and then returning it after 2 weeks and then getting a new fresh clothing.
Yep.
And it was
just a good way to avoid laundry. I got to try that.
One of the biggest coddest industries right now, and out here in Vegas, it's effing rampant, is people buying pallets of Amazon returns and then using basic auction software to auction off the stuff that's in there.
Somebody on YouTube did that, and they got like a whole pallet of shit, and they went through it, and it was a lot less money, the value of all those things, than what
it really depends. It's a crapshoot because sometimes you get shit that's mixed up between Amazon and Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
So, you'll get a meat slicer that has a turd in it or something because people from Walmart. But the thing is, if you stick to the Amazon returns, they're actually pretty damn good. Out here, the best one I played with was 702 Auctions. And they just buy $1,000 pallets of shit, and they sell it off, and you get some really good bargains. I mean, I got like a $300 micro paper shredder for $40. It had a broken on-off button, like you had to like put a piece of glue on it, and it done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's a real big cottage industry, and it's not just Amazon. I mean, Amazon and Walmart and their entire warehouse places that will sell you pallets of returns. Returns don't work the way they used to anymore. It used to be, you return something and you have to pay to this and pay to that, and maybe it gets back on the shelf. Now they just junk it into giant pallets and shove it out the door.
Some people actually tracked Amazon returns that they sent back. They had put like GPS trackers in there, and they saw they went right. Some of them went like right to the junkyard, so to speak, like the garbage dump,
like the ET from the 2600.
Who?
The ET cartridge for the 2600.
I'm not familiar with what that is.
Okay, once upon a time there was this thing called the Atari 2600, and it was a video game console, and they wanted to make a shitload of money when this really cool movie called E.T. came out. And they pushed the developers up their asses to make the shittiest game known to mankind. The game E.T. makes the cartridge for Custer's Last Stand look good. Okay? I don't know if you know what that is.
Custer's Last Stand was pretty good. I remember that game.
Now, the thing is, it was such a bad cartridge, such a bad game, that nobody bought the thing, and they lost a shit ton of money on it. but they didn't want to flood the market with it. So they went out to the desert in Vegas and built a cement sarcophagus and dumped all the cartridges in it and covered it over with cement and hid it. And it remained hidden for almost 25 years until a guy fucking off in the desert came across it. It was like a couple of years ago. And they managed to dig up a bunch of them. But yeah, they were so embarrassed by the game that they dug a hole in the ground and shoved the cartridges in there.
Had that game.
All right. So Montreal's public transportation system got hit by ransomware.
Canadian.
Fucking Canadians, man. So these maple syrup loving motherfuckers were
Floppy-headed, maple-blooded ice bats.
I hope we don't have any Canadian viewers who watch this and are like, fuck these guys. I'm not watching their cast anymore.
If Hot Dish is
You know,
listening,
the only good thing that comes out of Canada is comedy shows.
if Hot Dish is listening, I still love you and your husband, THC.
Hey, now. Canada has delicious dessert wine. And poutine is not bad.
If you have not watched Letterkenny yet, you really need to.
I thought
Letterkenny and Corner Gas.
I didn't realize I was Canadian.
Yep. And by the way, it's not Canada. It's actually CND. It's pronounced C-A-N-A-D-A.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was so bad.
Motherfuckers wouldn't let me in that country because I was going to record something for free, but it was still considered work, and they kicked my ass out. Fuck them.
You know how you know a girl likes you when you're dating her? If you tell her a dad joke and she still laughs even though you know she didn't find it funny. Like that kind of joke.
Around here, we call that daddy issues.
Those are fun too. So this company STM, right? That's the name of their Montreal Société des Transports de Montréal. They got ransomware attacks, and I'm hearing feedback from somebody. I don't know who it is. On Tuesday morning, they announced that outages were caused by a computer virus that led to major failures on platform systems. Later that evening, they confirmed that they had suffered a ransomware attack and are working with law enforcement. Their website's down. It's still down. So, yeah, they don't have any information like which ransomware it was or any of that shit on here. It's a developing story, so to speak. For some reason, they're redirecting people to lastm.info, which is another public transportation site where they haven't noticed about the attack, which I guess is one way to deal with it. You know,
Send out the Mounties.
Yeah, man, they'll figure that shit out.
Don't underestimate those guys. They're actually pretty decent.
All right, so is this actual phishing or is it phishing? So Coinbase phishing hijacks Microsoft 365 accounts via the OAuth app. A new phishing campaign uses Coinbase themed email to install Office 365 consent app that gives attackers access to a victim's email. So Office 365 OAuth apps are becoming more and more popular as a way that attackers gain access to systems.
And it's still like stupid because people think that, oh yeah, ofycfe.ru is a legitimate login for Office 365.
Correct.
I mean, hello, you know.
Well, people are stupid. And if you send them something, they click on it, the screen opens, they're going to look at what's in the URL. As long as it's got the lock there, they assume it's safe.
That's kind of the security industry's fault for a long time.
So, this is what the attack email looks like, right? It's the Coinbase. We got some new terms of service. Hi, random characters. Yada, yada, yada. Improvements. You can read about them in our term of service. Read and accept the new terms of service, right? So you click it, and it brings you to what looks like login.live.com, right? That seems pretty fucking legit, right? If you're usually using Office 365 to sign in to Coinbase, it's even got your security key here. This looks fucking legit, right? And then you go, okay, let this app access your info. Okay. And the user says yes. They give them permission to read all their emails, to read and write emails as them, all that fun shit, right? So this is an Office consent app, right? So in Office 365, you can have apps, and these apps can have permissions to your mailbox to do various things. Some people use them to send out mass marketing emails, shit like that, right? So if you give one of these apps permission to use your mailbox, it is like that person now has access to everything in your mailbox and can send email as you. And people are stupid. And look, this is an Office 365 portal, right? So if you would think this is legit, right? A lot of people would fall for this. It's very well done. So, yeah, man. People are stupid. Never click a link in an email unless you're expecting that freaking email and you ask for it.
I don't really think that's a great advice, because at that point, shouldn't the onus be on the email provider to try to find a way to make it so people can pre-authorize links? Because it just feels like blaming the user for a fundamental design failure. We designed email to send stuff,
right? And that you can put a link in an email, and it's easy to click, right?
Yeah.
And look, if a user comes across this on a phishing test and they fall for it, guess what? They're not really that much of an idiot, because this totally looks fucking what your portal sign-in would look like. So this is more of a Microsoft design fail right here, allowing the attackers to use their legitimate Office 365 portal to get other users to put their creds in. So essentially, you got a few bucks. You want to sign up. You can make your own Office 365 portal, send people an email with a link. They click it. They log into your portal. You get their password. Well, not even their password. You get the ability to add an app to their shit, and that app has permissions to all their stuff. It's good. It's nice. It's fun. Terrifying if you are dealing with a bunch of end users. This Windows vulnerability I ran across, right? I played with this yesterday. The article's from 2 days ago. I couldn't trigger it, but it's cool. So Apple iPhone owners, if they use a Windows machine, right? So you got an iPhone because you want people to know that you are important, and right. So you got the iPhone and you got a Windows machine because you don't actually really have a lot of money. So you then go and you view and edit video files. This somehow opens you up to a remote hack, thanks to a vulnerability that exists in the way that Microsoft's operating system handles these stupid files called HEVC, right? So codec shit, right? Back when Napster and LimeWire and all these things were around, I bet you at one point spent some time and you downloaded like a codec pack and installed it on your computer so you could watch videos that you pirated, because that was what you did back then. We had like Media Player Classic with some freaking K-Lite codec pack, and you download that shit and then you'd be able to watch your videos. And then sometimes you'd come across a video and it didn't have the codec in it, right? It's no codec, and it has a link in the video somehow. And it's like, hey, you want to watch this video? Just download this codec and you can watch the video. So you're a dumbass and you go, okay, I'm going to download that codec. And you download it and you install it on your computer, and then the video still doesn't play. So you close it and forget about it, right? And then they have access to your box. So that's the way it used to work. This is a little different, but it's the same premise. It's a codec bug. So you're essentially triggering arbitrary code execution on a machine by opening a specially designed payload. And the payload in this case is an HEVC image file. Because Windows mishandles the codec, right? It doesn't know quite what to do properly. There's kind of a buffer overflow there. It triggers what appears to be what they call a memory overflow. It's like a heap or a buffer overflow, and it enables the system intrusion. Essentially, it comes to the point in what appears to be a video file that is some code, and then runs the code because it's stupid. It enables like a remote takeover. I was fucking around trying to make this work, reading some articles, and I couldn't trigger it myself. But I bet somebody else who's more skilled at this shit could. So yeah, it's there's a patch for it, right? It came out last week. I have not patched since last week, so I would probably still be vulnerable to it. Comments. Hey, Will, could you get that to work right? You still here? He's not going to answer me. All right. Anybody live in there besides me?
No.
Hello.
All right, good.
Are you okay, Adrian?
What?
Sound a little bit groggy.
You're not going to fall asleep on us again, are you?
I hope not.
I'm not putting you to sleep, am I? I'm not that.
Can I have some questions for you after the cast, Adrian? Be awake for them.
I got some questions for you too. I want to ask you about that thing that happened that time.
I'm fucked up.
That was very fucked up. The U.S. Department of Justice Monday announced grand jury indictments of 6 Russian intelligence officers for cybercrimes, including disrupting the power grid in Ukraine, interfering with the French election, and crashing computer systems all around the world. French? No. Federal prosecutors. I am French. Why do you think I have this ridiculous?
Why is the FBI indicting them for what they did in Ukraine and France?
Because the FBI does this shit now. They don't care. It's like it happened. It affected the U.S. somehow. We're prosecuting you.
Okay.
Yep. So federal prosecutors in Pittsburgh accused the members of the Russian security agency GRU, who were operating out of a Moscow military unit, of carrying out the malware attacks between 2015 and 2019. The group is nicknamed Sandworm Team, Telebots, or Voodoo Bear, sometimes also called Iron Viking. I think I like Telebots the best out of those. They're also accused in meddling with the 2018 Winter Olympics in South Korea and hijacking government websites in the country of Georgia, not the state, because there's a real country that has that name, and people are stupid and don't realize that. Prosecutors in Pennsylvania said that the GRU group developed malware that brought down the computers in 2 Pennsylvania hospitals and infected about 60 physician offices. So that's what they're going after them. That's a U.S. crime there. That's the answer to your question. And despite the fact that they were in Russia when they did it, I guess since it affected U.S. shit, they can have jurisdiction on that, right?
Right.
So attorneys from the Western District of Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh FBI field office joined federal agents at a press conference Monday and announced the indictments. I don't know how they're going to actually get these people, though, or if they already have them. The crimes committed by Russian government officials went against real victims who suffered real harm. We have an obligation to hold them accountable, no matter where they reside, no matter whom for they work, in order to seek justice on behalf of these victims. Sounds like a very well-prepared statement that was written by an intern. These were behind the creation and unleashing of the Kill Disc and Indestroyer cyberworms. I haven't heard of either of those. They sound cool. That crashed computers operating in the Ukraine power grid during winter of 2017, leaving hundreds of thousands of Eastern European people without any heat. That would suck.
Yeah.
Another cyber attack by the NotPetya worm quickly spread around the world to businesses and government agencies, causing $1 billion worth of financial losses at Pennsylvania hospitals, as well as large American drug company and subsidiary of Federal Express. What? A large American drug company and a subsidiary of Federal Express. That makes more sense, right? I was thinking there was a drug company, and that drug company was a subsidiary of Federal Express, and that would not make a lot of sense. The group also attempted interference in the 2017 French presidential election by hacking emails of staffer Emmanuel Macron. They were accused of sabotaging computers with the Olympic Destroyer cyber attack during the opening ceremonies of the Winter Olympics, and also doing other shit, lots of shit. They did all this shit, and they're going to go to jail for this shit is maybe what's going to happen. Right. No country has weaponized cyber capabilities as maliciously and irresponsibly as Russia, want only causing unprecedented collateral damage to pursue small tactical advantages and satisfy fits of spite. I don't know what the fuck accent that was, but that's a thing. All right. We're going to move forward.
It sounded like he was trying to make a hybrid between a Russian and a British accent.
Yeah. I liked it. It was fun. QNAP, right? This one I didn't get. I'm not look. I saw this article today and I was like, that can't be. It makes no sense, right? So they're saying zero login, right? Which is the Windows bug that will let you log into like a domain controller with no real password, just zeros and shit. Like, it's more complicated than that. It's like guessing login shit and stupid. It affects some NAS devices. I don't get how that is. I didn't read the article, so I really don't know. So QNAP is an organization that makes little boxes like this that have hard drives in them that have a network port in the back called a NAS. And if you have a NAS on your network, you can use it to store shit, usually using SMB protocol. So they're warning their customers that some NAS devices running vulnerable versions of the QTS operating system are exposed to attacks attempting to exploit the Windows Zero login vulnerability. If exploited, this elevation of privilege allows remote attackers to bypass security measures via a compromised QTS network device on the network, right? So the NAS may be exposed to this vulnerability if users have configured the device as a domain controller. So apparently, you can use a shitty little NAS box as a domain controller. I did not know that. I know you can do it on a Linux box, so I guess you can technically do it on like an ARM device. That makes sense. All right, so look, you can run a freaking domain controller on this thing. It's not a real DC, but it's like using LDAP. It's good enough. They strongly recommend that customers update the QTS operating system on their NAS devices. Yeah, that's actually pretty neat. I did not know that a NAS could run a domain controller on it. I don't know what company would actually choose to run a domain controller from their NAS device and how long it would take to fire those admins, but probably not the smartest idea.
I mean, a company that only wants to spend $100 on their domain controller?
Look, if you're going to go that route, just get a freaking Raspberry Pi for $35. Spend another $10 on a 64 gig card, plug that shit in, and set up a domain controller on that.
This is, I don't know, some ghetto college project. I don't know.
That would be a good ghetto college project. See, make the most inexpensive domain controller and network possible. It has to be under $600. Go. Okay, Windows deploys forced security updates for a dangerous bug. That's not accurate. I misread 2 articles and combined them in my head. All right, Microsoft says it took down. No, I read that already. Fuck. I guess I'm out of shit to read. Yeah, because I did this out of order. So, alrighty. Politics and cancel culture, and I'm not doing a tool this week because I'm too much of a tool. So I'll do a tool next week.
I'm sorry. How did we get from politics and cancel culture to tools, other than the people who participate in them are tools?
All right. So the way that we do our show notes, all right, if you look over here, we got general InfoSec stuff.
Yep.
After announcements, and we didn't have any announcements. And then we go down here. InfoSec tool and review. That's usually
that just different category. Okay.
And then we do that, right? And then we go to the next category, which is usually politics. But I added and cancel culture because the article I had was about cancel culture, but I wanted to put it in here.
Okay.
That. Right. So we're going to talk about Chris Pratt, Star-Lord.
I want to talk about that one as well. I have screenshots of you brought it up. You talked about it. I'll add if there's anything.
I brought it up, but why don't you talk about it? Because I'm kind of, my throat's kind of tired. And
Well, I mean, what's happening to Chris Pratt is an excellent example of the blind spot anti-harassment campaigners have when a large group of people on social media spew racial epithets and death threats. Essentially, I don't know why they went after Chris Pratt, but he is a Christian and he's white. Therefore, he is not a sympathetic character. And his colleagues, Robert Downey Jr. and the like, were openly defending his character. And other
you're in trouble when Robert Downey Jr. is defending your character.
Like Robert Downey Jr. and other members of the MCU were defending his character, and
that's like having John McAfee defend your character.
And this herein comes the death threats. And I think I forget which character it was, but I think half black character, half black person who in comes the accusations of being a coon, you N-word, blah, blah, blah. How fucking dare you? You were supporting a white man. In 7 days, you will die. Don't look out your window. That kind of stuff. And you know that it's like the people who would normally hold the feet of social media CEOs to the fire are conspicuously, quiet here because all of these death threats and harassment, it's happening in the name of social justice. Therefore, it's righteous.
Right, and the whole reason they went after him in the first place is because other Avengers were like, we're going to do a Biden rally, and he's like, I'm going to sit this one out. And now they assume because he's not going to the Biden rally, he must be a Trump person, which we don't necessarily know if he is or not. But
they looked at Biden and Kamala's history. What the fuck are they thinking?
Well, they're thinking he's not Trump.
Shit.
Look, it doesn't matter. Somebody's running against Trump, and that's the thing. It doesn't matter who it is. It's like we hate that the whole thing with them is we hate Trump. We need to get him out of office. We don't care if we elect a toaster as long as we get him out. And he's pretty much a toaster. I mean, he's like the worst candidate, but people will vote for him because of association to Obama.
Yeah.
He has a horrible record voting. I mean, he even voted against segregation. I mean, no, he voted for segregation.
I was going to say, like, wait, what?
Yeah, I got that backwards. And I said it's stupid. So he voted for segregation in schools, and he had a comment where he said, I don't want my children growing up in a jungle when they go to school. So
what? Racial jungle, I think it was the term.
Racial jungle or some shit like that. Look, the dude has a shitty record.
I'm not even sure what that even fucking means.
He authored that crime bill that put hundreds of black people in jail for minor drug offenses.
You're off order of magnitude or 4.
Am I?
Well, not 4, but yes. Pretty sure that's gotten more than hundreds.
I don't know why hundreds is the number that popped into my head when I was trying to think. Say a big number, but my brain
is a rounding. It's a rounding error.
Yeah, I think it's more of a I'm stupid error. Regardless, so Pratt appeared to be on the hunt for evidence of Trump. Like these people were going through his tweets. They're going through everything online they can find about him, and they're looking for any evidence of Trump support, but they couldn't find anything except this tweet right here. Are people really just finding out Chris Pratt is a Republican, considering he's been following Ben Shapiro and Dan Crenshaw for a while? So the fact that he followed Shapiro,
we're following with Crenshaw. Crenshaws are all good.
I don't even know who Dan Crenshaw is. I think Ben Shapiro sometimes has some good points, but he's also kind of an asshole.
Ben Shapiro, he speaks fucking fast, but I love all my Judaic brothers. I mean, you like me.
I know.
I kissed you long time. All right, that guy was a little weird.
He's been very open about his Christian faith. All right, he quoted, "I'm such a bad religion person that I don't even know how to pronounce this properly." Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthened me, on Twitter. Right, he put a Jesus quote on Therefore, he's a Trumper. right? That's how it works now.
Yeah, everybody go fuck yourselves.
I mean, I've had coworkers who were very much very devout Christians, but were also Democrats. So it's kind of very stupid to assume every single religious Christian is a Republican.
They all are. So.
Right. Next thing we've got. So I sent a tweet to her, not actual tweet, Twitter message or whatever the fuck you call them, to a reporter that DM. I don't know.
Yeah, DMs.
All right, Dungeon Master. I sent a Dungeon Master to a reporter that I know, and essentially I was looking at YouTube videos and I came across some shit that seemed kind of legit at the time, but now that we kind of look back on it, might not have been so legit. And essentially it was 4chan people posting screenshots of themselves logged into Oregon voting sites, right? And they were changing the votes of people, and they were able to get in.
No, they weren't. No. They weren't changing the votes. What they were doing was canceling votes. They were not able to change those votes from Democrats to Republican or vice versa, but they were able to say, make it so that if someone already did a mail-in vote, that vote would be discarded. That was what they said they were doing.
Oh, okay. Not in the video that I saw, but we could have, anyway. So essentially all you needed to know was a person's date of birth and their name, and you could log in as them on this portal. And from there are different things you could do, like change the address and all sorts of shit, right? Some people claim that they could even change the vote of the person, but it doesn't look like that was actually real. So I went digging a little bit, and I found out that in 2018, there was a leak of all of the Oregon voter registration data that you could download from a well-known leak site. And essentially that contains everybody's name and date of birth. So I'm like, hey, to the reporter, it would be really easy for a bad actor to kind of script out an operation taking this data and logging into the site as multiple different people and fucking with it, right? He looked at it. He thanked me for it, and then he directed me to a Vice article where essentially the whole thing was debunked. And I felt stupid. So that's
all right. They also claimed it was Washington State.
Yeah. You give me a minute. I'll bring up the shitty Vice article. I just need to.
I only read the screenshots that are being passed around of the poll thread. I admit. I mean, if Vice would absolutely have the incentive to claim if it's real or not. If Vice says it's obviously fake, they have the incentive to claim otherwise. If they say it's fake, I'll trust it's fake.
Fake news.
Yeah. So Vice is not what I'd really call a reputable online outlet, despite the fact that it was founded by Tim Pool. Their news section.
Well, Tim was involved in some of the video news. It
wasn't founded by Tim Pool.
Gavin McInnes and someone else.
Yeah, it's gonna look like Tim Pool. Definitely not.
Fuck Lorenzo.
Tim Pool open with what he did there. He was hired as a contractor, but he had a contract term, and he kept writing stories that they didn't want him to. So he claimed.
Anyway, so this is the article from Vice, which may or may not be reputable.
And Gavin is hilarious. I'll just put that fucking out there. Gavin is hilarious. Watch his fucking YouTube channel.
Gavin?
Well, what YouTube is still left of him.
Who the fuck is Gavin?
Gavin McInnes?
He's one of the founders of Vice.
Oh.
Isn't he also a white nationalist?
I wouldn't say that. No. Well, he's married to a Native American woman.
Well, I didn't think. I mean, okay.
I wouldn't call him that, but he does say shit that's way out there, and he's easy to quote clip to say bad things about him. But no, I wouldn't call him that. No.
Interesting.
Now I'm gonna have crazy people on Twitter saying all sorts of whacked out shit about me. But that time I fucking made a joke about AOC and people fuck.
I don't even know what he looks like. Pick up. Caught me. London. Hilarious. Oh, we've had such times, me and Gav.
No, sorry. I've yet to meet any hilarious Londoners. Oh, he's the best. Stop it!
Sorry, you said Gavin, and I needed to pull up my only Gavin reference.
Yeah, Gavin posts funny articles online and videos, but he does say some outlandish shit from time to time.
He sounds a lot like you.
Well, yeah, maybe a little bit.
So 4chan users thought that by changing some people's personal details on these portals, they had found a way to tamper with people's votes. Several people on Twitter noticed 4chan threads and posted alarming tweets that then went viral and even transcended the right-wing conspiracy-lugging blogosphere. Many of the posts on 4chan and its outside coverage seem like an attempt to sow distrust in the election. Yada, yada, yada. That's what the Republicans and the Trump party does. Yeah, all right. In reality, though, literally not everyone can change, let alone cancel anybody's vote in Oregon or Washington, according to both government election officials and independent election security experts. I hope the expert is not Jackie. No vote can be cast or canceled online through My Vote. Stephen Trout, the director of elections at Oregon's Secretary of State, said in an email to Motherboard, attempts to alter information on My Vote can be tracked through our system logs to help identify the individual who is committing the crime. So the director of Washington's Office of Secretary of State explained in an email, the voter information that can be accessed on Vote WA is publicly disclosable by law. However, in order to alter a person's registration record online, you would need to provide your license, driver's license number, and issuance date. So that information is not going to be found in the voter registration database. So, the executive director at Voting Works said, yes, if you know someone's personal information, you're going to be able to access their voter registration record and request a change. There's no way around that in the system if you want to enfranchise voters and make it easy to vote. Again, the security versus convenience thing, right? As Zabel explained, if someone logs into Vote WA and accesses an online ballot, the ballot previously mailed to the voter is then placed on hold. Well, that kind of refutes what they just fucking said in the earlier part of the article. Only one active ballot can be live at a time, even if multiple physical ballots have been issued. Once a ballot is returned, it is received by the county election office. The signature on the returned envelope is checked against the signature on file in the voter's registration record. Now, you think they got a bunch of handwriting experts, or they just make sure there's squiggly lines there?
I still don't understand where you use signatures for anything anymore, because my signature never looks the same no matter what I do. And the less I do writing anymore, my signature is shit.
Well, that's because you're always drunk, Adrian.
That is possibly true also.
Yeah, you've been a bit worse of that lately, Adrian. I'm really concerned about you, man.
We will talk offline about that.
All right.
I love you in a mostly hetero way.
Same here.
Mostly hetero.
They're saying all that these 4chan people did was make life harder for election officials in the two states. Good.
Well, I mean, it's limited resources. If nothing actually happened and it was just a wild goose chase, then I don't think that's really good.
So we have two different things in the same article that contradict themselves. One says that there's no way that they can fuck with your ballot, and then in the same article, it says that they can cancel your ballot. So
that is what I saw on that 4chan thread screenshot that kept being passed around. That was the claim, that they couldn't change the ballot, but they could cancel a ballot.
Right, and the article confirms that, so I don't know why they're claiming at the top that 4chan's pathetic attempt to alter votes isn't going to accomplish anything.
It could be one of those things where they're answering a question that wasn't asked. It's very common when it comes to politically sensitive things or any kind of risk, any kind of thing that might risk someone's job.
Yeah, it's a staff writer who wrote this article advice. It's not even like a guy who knows shit about hacking. Oh, he does cover hacking. Oh, sorry, I misread that. Hacking, security, and digital rights. All right. Before Motherboard, he worked at Mashable. and Wired. Oh, those are some really reputable outlets.
Journalism is mostly bullshit at this point.
He's a defrocked lawyer from Barcelona, Spain. We got a defrocked lawyer from Barcelona, Spain, talking about politics in the U.S. That's all right. Fuck it. Move on. General IT stuff. This is closely related to some of our InfoSec shit, right? First article is about there's a new Windows 10 release called 20H2, right? And this release has a bunch of new features and bells and whistles. It's got a theme-aware start menu, so you don't have to use like something else to make your start menu go with your theme. Chromium is now built in, or Microsoft Edge version of Chromium.
This involves Michael Myers.
Alt-Tab is no longer a hot mess, and some settings page is changed around again for reasons that are not immediately apparent. So, yeah, there's a new release of Windows 10, which some people are excited about. Most people don't give a fuck. All right.
Do
And
you think it's interesting that people have gotten over the force feeding of Windows 10?
It's more so that time heals wounds.
It's impossible. Yeah, I'll buy that. I believe that as far as Apple goes, when Apple was pushing, things to your iPod, or the whole U2 debacle. But I remember people screaming their heads off about being forced at gunpoint to go Windows 10 and you have no choice and yada yada yada.
I was leaving that press X to accept. Fuck you, Microsoft.
I think that they're still trying to do that with their browser, which
is what our next article is about.
But yeah, we need regulators to tell Microsoft to stop changing people's defaults.
Well, you need Edge to install, Chrome or Brave or whatever, whatever floats your boat these days.
But you know how Internet Explorer is the best browser to download another browser?
Right, that's its whole purpose. There's been a lot of memes and comics about that.
Well, now you can't do that in the new version of Windows 10. You have to use Edge to download Chrome because they ripped out Internet Explorer as well as the old version of Edge. You are now left with a default install that's only got the Chromium-based Edge.
Okay, then. I know there's some sites that still only support the old version of Internet Explorer. Like, I do some volunteering at a nonprofit, and recently I had to do some stuff with QuickBooks. That involved transferring data from an online version to the desktop version to another online version, and it required me to run Internet Explorer, only Internet Explorer, as administrator with a specialized ActiveX plugin.
I was going to say ActiveX.
Yes, ActiveX plugin to send data to the desktop app. And it's like, this is 2020. Why are you mandating fucking Internet Explorer?
Do you feel dirty? Do you feel extra dirty? Tell me how you feel dirty, big boy.
I felt frustrated, confused, and kind of bad for people other people who have to deal with this with a less technically competent person, because it was a fucking Rube Goldberg process.
That's a very good way of explaining that. I like it.
Yes, I agree. That's very, very accurate.
So now if you hate yourself and you run Linux, you can run Microsoft Edge on it.
Oh, shit.
Did you say if you hate yourself and run Linux?
Yep.
Are those mutually inclusive, or?
No, I'm saying if you both hate yourself and you run Linux.
Okay.
Like, not if you hate yourself because you run Linux, but you might. But I'm thinking more of like, I'm a dude and I really like to cause some pain for myself and discomfort, and I want to do things that will cause me to hate life.
Well,
you can now run Microsoft Edge on Linux.
I like the open source and the Wild Wild West feel and experimental software, but I also like to listen to audio. And
maybe Netflix will work in the Edge on Linux if you change the agent.
Yeah. Let's install Linux and then Edge and then something, and then maybe we can watch a video.
Your DRM features will say "fuck you."
People will look at you and say "fuck why." Why are you doing it? Why are you reaching up your ass to scratch your nose?
I'm just waiting for there to be some kind of weird jury-rigged open source project that's kind of like, okay, this component here, I'm sorry everyone, but it's only supported with Edge, and everyone's got fucking Linux and has to download fucking Edge to get this done.
Well, there might be shit out there that relies on the version of Edge that is now in Windows that hasn't been replaced by the Chrome version. Like, people might have written stuff that is Edge specific, and now the new version of Windows 10 does not have that, and there's no way to put it on there.
I'm sure there's going to be executables out there somewhere.
I'm just pointing out people's random comments from the chat up into the feed.
Oh, somebody's actually watching this?
Yes, various people are watching this shit.
All right.
The thing is, there's a rule of thumb I came to use, and I'll say this now: it only applies in the work environment. But you never run a service on Windows, and you never run a desktop on Linux, and you'll be happy. As an admin, for a big office or multiple users, that's just a rule of thumb. And people come back and go, I can do a Linux desktop and da da da. Yeah, and I also know a guy who can make art with a chainsaw and a piece of wood. Can you do that? No. So take your Linux love and try
a virtual machine, man.
Here's a slide deck that everyone else uses in Office, and put that on your Linux and see what happens.
LibreOffice will never fucking replace Word,
It's just there's just a certain level of wrongness where you have to accept that Office 365 is going to dominate the working world for the near future. Until the big meteor comes and turns Redmond into a crater. That's going to be the shit, because OS X isn't going to give us anything useful, and all the free stuff from Linux is great if you want to run Linux, but if you want to communicate with the rest of the business world, you're screwed.
Yeah, and it's true. It's very unfortunate though, because look, Linux is a really solid operating system, and
absolutely,
it really you can do a lot of cool shit with Linux, and it runs on really minimal hardware as well. And
it's a great hobby thing too. It's like your go-kart. It's like the go-kart that you take around your block. You know?
Linux is they're the reason why Microsoft is open sourcing a lot of their shit and trying to play lights with Linux. Linux has very critical business uses. It's just not for normal productivity users.
It's not for a desktop use.
Right. So Linux is actually one of the most critical business operating systems there is.
Right.
And many times far more critical than Windows.
In an office environment, in a business environment, you never run a service on Windows. E.g., you always run it on Linux. And if you're going to put a desktop out to 1,000 users, you give them Windows. Because you give them Linux, you'll never sleep again the rest of your life.
Now, there is one exception. I would not want to run Active Directory on Linux.
Yeah, that's just Satanism right there.
People do that.
I've done it once.
There are people who still use Emacs too, and we don't talk about them either.
But I mean, running directory services on Linux is not that bad of an idea. But if you're going to run an actual AD on Linux, you're just an idiot.
Yeah,
I mean, just run a freaking Windows box.
That's like saying anything's a dildo if you're brave enough.
Look, LDAP and Kerberos will work fine on Linux, and if you combine LDAP and Kerberos, you pretty much just get AD. I mean, it's like it's same shit. But they'll work fine on Linux, and you can join shit to a domain, right? You can even enforce group policy that way, but it's not.
Try editing an Active
You're gonna run into problems.
Try editing an Active Directory group policy using VI.
So Doshi says that Windows and WSL2 has become their default dev setup. Look, WSL2 is great. I was messing around with WSL1 when it first came out. I don't run it anymore, but I used to run Xming, and I would be able to actually just forward Windows from the terminal, like install Xeyes or something, and then have Xeyes work on Windows. It's cool. It works. There are some bugs with it that I really don't like. Like if you want to use it for pen testing, right, which is a really bad idea, but you cannot cache a shell because you can't open a port because there's no raw socket support. So with networking shit, you're kind of effed, and everything is just natted to the main box. So you open up something on port whatever, your Windows box it's supposed to be there, but it's not always, and it gets confused. And it's like you go localhost whatever, and you still can't get to it. It's fucking pain in the ass, man. Like just run it in a VM and it'll work. Bridge networking in a VM, it will work out of the box. Sorry, I go off on rants sometimes, guys. What the hell was this article about? All right, yeah, Edge on Debian. All right, so if you want to run Edge on Debian, all you got to do, or Debian or Ubuntu, right? You just add the Microsoft package, right? And you add their key, and then you do an update, and you pull it down. It's fairly easy. You can also even do it on Fedora or Red Hat if you are a sadist, because you can, and you can install it with RPM that way. And if you are really nuts, you can also do it on OpenSUSE or SUSE or however you want to pronounce it.
It's pronounced Satan. It's pronounced Satan. Fuck open Satan.
Right. So yeah, that's a thing.
Probably that's the only distro that's left that comes on 25 CDs. The last time I played with that, literally, it was a little box of CDs, and that was, sit there in 2 hours of dropping CDs and to install that thing.
Right. I actually used to have a really cool CD changer when I was a kid. It had like 6 CDs and a little thing that would rotate. It was big too, and like
for audio CDs.
What?
For audio CDs?
Yeah, audio CDs. It was cool.
Yeah.
I didn't have something like that on my computer. What I did when I wanted to watch TV and I had my computer, and this was way before HDMI was a thing, is I had a fucking S-video cable going from my video card all the way to my TV, and speakers run with a regular speaker cable all the way to my TV.
Yes.
And I would just load shit up like hackers, and I'd watch it on my TV.
There was a company whose name I can't remember. They made a home computer it came with like a 27-inch tube TV. I had one of the damn things, and it was designed for doing media shit like that and being a computer at the same time. If you ever find a copy of the obscure and destroyed CDC video from one of those Hope 2000 or something, you'll actually see footage of it in my old apartment.
Nice.
But I forget what the name of it was, but it was like great for its time because it was a media center computer, and it came with like a 27-inch, glass tube TV that was just hell to move with.
I'm on vacation time right now. I wish I could be hanging out with Jamie and Chris, but unfortunately, because of the pandemic, GoCon's not actually happening right now. It pisses me off.
It pisses me off too, man. I would probably not have actually gone to GurCon, but the fact that you can't go to GurCon makes me upset.
It's probably my top. Well, not DerbyCon's dead. It's my top 2 cons.
We need to resurrect DerbyCon. Steal the name from Dave.
I'm sort of working on that, but I need help.
Well, are they going to let anyone do? Are they going to let anybody resurrect it? I mean.
Well, they have this thing where you can do like a DerbyCon community conference that they announced.
I don't know what the fuck that's about.
And we could just call it like DerbyCon.
What we need to do is just dig a hole and fill it with bottled water and Snickers bars and wait for the SJWs to die out, and then we can just go back to having our community again.
It's not going to happen. They've invaded and they're not leaving.
Well, that's true.
We
And
need to have a whole
they're
separate
getting
community and not work with
holds.
They can be marginalized though.
Yeah,
And
we're getting to the point now where they're getting weakened, but the thing is they're getting empowered more and more in mass media now. The absolute latest. Have you seen the reboot of Animaniacs?
No,
I'm scared.
Watch the trailer for the reboot of Animaniacs.
Okay,
It's the exact same irreverent humor until the last 4 seconds. When you got all 3 of them, Wacko, Yakko, and Dot. And Dot has her hand over the mouth of 2 other guys and says, "No mansplaining."
what have I done?
Well, I mean, Dot was always kind of saying feminist stuff in the show before.
Yeah, but not SJW style feminist stuff.
Well,
Now they make all the jokes about selling out, making money, and resurrecting things, and this is the stuff you expect.
Our first lines. Wait, don't.
There's even a really brief dig at Donald Trump in
Something
there.
missing in the first season.
well, they always cover political stuff in their show before, so
Right, I mean that's the stuff you expect.
yeah, you would expect Donald Trump to be in it.
Now that I know she's even real.
The catfish thing I thought was funny.
Tablet contains the sum of all human knowledge.
All human knowledge in one easy to swallow tablet?
Yeah, I need to talk to you offline to actually get
Green Bay.
going.
We missed so much.
Okay, stop the video, please.
Sounds like an odyssey. My sandwich.
Your mom is a social construct.
Just where I
So far, it looks pretty much like the same Animaniacs to me.
Exactly. Wait until you get to the last few seconds. Oh yeah, the black light.
Nothing unusual there.
Saw that coming.
Gee, Brad, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every
Oh, I
night.
missed that show.
Try to take over the world.
We found party!
I am the Pegasus. I come bearing horrible tidings of war from the...
Yeah. Less cocky, more flappy.
Here it comes.
Now, the adoration pours in.
It goes by really quick, but if you watch it, even with the captions turned on, it's no mansplaining.
What?
I'm not going to say that one line's enough to turn me off from the show. I think there's it.
No,
I'm
I'm
willing to
saying
give it a
that the SJWs are still creeping in. That's what I'm saying. It's a little tiny thing.
So,
but, you know,
if you think that's so, they're the show on Sci-Fi that how should I best put this? Donald Trump's a slug monster, and some of the antagonists are called Anime, Gamergate, and what's the third antagonist?
that's just profiteering.
What kind of profit are you gonna get from that? No one watches fucking Sci-Fi. This is some intern who said, if you want to connect with millennials, make this. And like, no one's gonna fucking watch that shit.
You know, if they weren't watching it, it wouldn't be on the air.
Okay, the shit that should be after the show.
Yeah.
All right. Finish up whatever we have in the show notes.
Yes, sir.
Then we'll go off air.
All right, so we got a 2,000-year-old cat etching found in the Nazca.
I have so much peppermint schnapps in me right now.
That's actually pretty interesting.
Look, there's a cat in a mountain. Isn't that cool? Cat in a mountain is a 2,000-year-old cat in a mountain.
Gary, Mary needs to come down and smack the shit out of me.
You would enjoy it too much. Yep. So this has been there like a long time, and it's cool. And in 2018, a dude was driving a truck over it, and he got arrested. Yeah. Well, not this one, but another one. Yeah, these things are cool. They're in the news. I thought it was interesting. Not really interesting enough to warrant talking about long. Next, we got AMC, the movie theater, right? They're going out of business, or at least they're very close to going out of business. They bankruptcy is on the table as cash runs low, and they are also so cash strapped that they will rent you an entire movie theater to yourself for $99.
Incorrect. They won't rent it to yourself. If you read the fine print on their website, it says starting at $99, but there is not a single thing that they list that's $99. You have to buy out all the seats at a price, and you have to fill the seats. In other words, if you have 100 of your friends and only 50 of them show up, you're still paying. It's a nice little trick. If you want popcorn, that's an extra $150. If you want catered food, it's an extra $250. If you want microphones and you want to talk to your people, your friends, $150. All added in.
You wanted to bang a chick in there.
You know what? They probably just charge you for the Scotch guard. The thing is that there isn't a single damn thing there that's $99. That's just an attention grabber. Oh, and by the way, that's just for the theater. You have to pick from the films they have, and you have to pay for the film. And they have two different tiers. There's the stuff they have on hand, and then there's the stuff that they can get. You can't just bring in your own copy of Hackers and throw it in there.
Right. So say I go, okay, I want to see Hocus Pocus, and I want to do it the 21st. No, I want to do it next week, or I don't know, October. None of these dates.
You got to do it at least 3 to 4 weeks in advance, according to their FAQ.
31st, right? Day after Halloween, at 7:00 at night, in Alabama. My name is John Joe Leray. I don't know. Fake email at fake.com. All right. My phone number is 555-123-4567. Will it let me do it?
Sure, and we'll get back to you with a quote.
Oh, fuck that shit.
Like I said, you're not getting anything for $99.
That would have been cool.
This is nothing new. A lot of the digital theaters have been doing this for years. Renting out the place. Oh, also, if you make your own tickets, there's a fee. If they do the tickets for you, there's a fee. And you can only have the theater for 15 minutes before the show starts. And if you want to see trailers, you can see trailers. If you don't want to see trailers, it's an extra charge for that.
Of course it is. I guess you've looked into this.
Yes, I did, because I seriously wanted to do it for a private party kind of thing.
Me too, man. I wanted to rent out a theater for other reasons.
There's a theater beside Raleigh does that they got a good deal on that, and it was a pretty cool fucking venue.
If you want a good deal, and you don't want to get bent over a plastic barrel, check out drive-in theaters.
There are none of those by me anymore. They're all gone.
They're making a slight comeback because of COVID.
There is one nearby me in Georgetown. I got to meet Kane Hodder there. And Kane Hodder put a machete to my neck. I said, it's sharp. And he said, it's okay as long as I don't draw it. And I got a cool picture of Kane Hodder.
Cool. So some of the theaters near me, like everything's closed in New York. Well, at least the area of New York I'm in. But they were doing pop-up theaters where they had like a giant inflatable screen, and they put it like a Walmart parking lot or and cars would come in, and if you had like a radio, you could watch the movie and listen to it. It was pretty fucking cool. I actually went with a friend of mine to one that was not far from me, and they were playing E.T., and I brought a little FM radio, and we just sat in lawn chairs and watched it. It was cool.
Yeah, drive-ins. I wish there was more of them.
Yeah,
it's kind of a cool thing.
The ones out here in Vegas are getting a revival. It's kind of interesting to watch.
Last one I was at was like, again, I said I went to see Kane Hodder, but they showed whatever movie he was in recently. I think it was oh fuck it. It forgets me. But Halloween, the Rob Zombie remake, and something else, and Kane Hodder was there, and I got a picture of Kane Hodder, which was really cool. And yes, I'm drunk as fuck.
I'll drink to that. Turn off JavaScript.
Hatchet was the film that was played.
Drink some water, Adrian.
And Kane Hodder got in the Hatchet film as a new addition to the film franchise, or just an addition to it.
What are you using to try and get past that paywall?
Nothing.
Okay. I was just curious. I usually just turn off JavaScript and I get
got some plugins that are supposed to do it, unpaywall and some other shit, but they don't seem to work on this site.
Do y'all know who Kane Hodder is?
King Hodder?
Kane Hodder, yes.
I don't know who that is.
He's just stuntman actor who played Jason more than anybody else has in.
Oh, you've talked about this guy before with the burns. Yeah.
Yeah. He had. Yeah, it's actually a pretty compelling story if you ever read on his third-degree burns and how he got past them, and how he still does work for children's hospitals and so forth. He is a very, very compelling guy.
All right, so the last story we've got is the Pope has endorsed civil unions for same-sex couples. So even though in the U.S. you can get married if you are in a homosexual relationship.
If you're above the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah. Interesting story about that, my friend. She and her wife have a daughter together, and she had to adopt her own daughter when they went to travel to visit her in-laws in the South, because if, God forbid, something were to happen down there, it would have been chaos. So she had to legally go through the emotions of adopting her own daughter.
You know, every time I hear banjos, my asshole puckers up.
So he says homosexual people have the right to be in a family. They are children of God. They have a right to a family. Nobody should be thrown out or made miserable over it. I agree. You know, if two people love each other,
how many fundamentalists in the U.S.?
Yeah, man, if two people love each other, they should be able to be together. End of story.
Yeah.
So
that's what's scary about this Pope. He's done a lot of that. I mean, his predecessors were not as kind.
I love you, Frank.
You know, he's got a really good name, Pope Francis. It sounds good.
Part of the thing is, I hate to say this, I really, really do, but I think half the reason why he's getting away with it, like I believe that he believes in this shit, right? But ordinarily, you'd have the cardinals and all the bishops and all that shutting him down. I think that they're letting this come through so everyone will overlook the fact that they're still putting their dicks in little boys.
So he did say something fucked up in this, though. He said individuals with same-sex attraction are beloved children of God and must have their personal human rights and civil rights recognized and protected by law. However, this is where he fucks it up. The legalization of their civil unions, which seek to simulate holy matrimony, is not admissible.
Well, you know, the thing is, that's the tenet of his religion, and they're entitled to that. If you want to have the same, you don't, you know, if that's the thing is, first of all, you got to remember, you're looking at a bunch of made up just so stories. And the number one rule of religion is if you don't like what our religion says, go make your own. So it's not like that you can't tell him you can't make the rules for your own clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's acknowledging the autonomy of the same-sex couples, the homosexuals, the lesbians, which is more than any other pope has done prior to him. And now he's saying, no, if you want our special sacrament, you want to come over and pretend to be vampires for a few minutes, and vampire cannibals, then, yeah, well, not so much. And, you know, how do you tell someone like that you can't make up your own rules for your own clubhouse? At least he's not saying take them out in the backyard and kill them like they do down, you know, in the South.
And, of course, we have Ed Meckman, who's the archdiocese person in New York, right? And he says the Pope is wrong. I think he says, in this case, I think we have to recognize the Holy Father just erred. Catholics cannot promote the legalization of same-sex unions. We also have to be clear that we aren't changing the teaching of the church on homosexuality or same-sex unions in any way. Essentially, fuck what the Pope says. Listen to me.
The thing is, the Pope is the end-all, be-all. You go against the Pope, you're going to be in a world of shit.
You're going to get excommunicated.
Right. Number one. Number two, again, I bring up the point, especially in the New York diocese, you know, why don't you get your dick out of the little boys and then we can talk about this like adults.
I do not disagree with you. Look, I do some volunteer work with the local church. Not that I'm a religious person, but I help them out with some stuff. And I had to go and attend this thing called Virtus, right? It's spelled like virtues without the E at the end. So it is like a 2-hour presentation given by a person where you watch several videos and there's interactive things all talking about how you have to be appropriate and how inappropriate it is to sleep with somebody who you're helping. Like if you're mentoring somebody, don't sleep with them. If there's a child there, don't sleep with them. Don't ever be alone with somebody who is younger, like a young person. Don't ever be alone with a young person.
Translation, we've been busted, and so don't do this anymore.
Right, but it's 2 fucking hours, and I'm just a volunteer, and all I do is I help out with a couple of things.
It doesn't matter. I mean, as long as you're involved with them in any way, they have to do that. There's probably a legal requirement for it from something they got busted for.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid.
It is, but that's what the thing is. That should be a big red flag right there that says somebody played hide the salami with little Jimmy. And, maybe rethink.
It was in the videos we watched. They actually interviewed victims of priests.
Yeah.
And we have to watch them talk about how the priests, lured them away and, like, fucking raped them and how it happened over and over again with some, like, choir boy and shit. It was horrible.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, in the 70s and the 80s, they used to make jokes about it, even though they knew it was true. The kid comes out of confession. Hey, what does the father give for a blowjob? Usually a candy bar and a ride home. This shit's been out there forever. It's just now that we're just starting to, scratch the surface of doing something about it. The religious nutters will go out there and they'll shoot somebody for performing an abortion, but they'll ship somebody out of the country if they fucked a little boy.
Well, it's like the comedy special was saying, I think it was Robin Williams. He's like, here's the priest, here's the pedophile. Here's the priest, here's the pedophile. The priest, the pedophile. And it's like fucking shuffling them around to different parishes rather than addressing the issue to just send it somewhere else.
Or they send them, on to a quote-unquote mission in the middle of Bunga Bunga land where he can screw all the little boys he wants and no one cares because they're 200 miles away from the nearest telephone.
Right, and he also provides water from the church,
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, you want water? You say your Hail Marys. You don't want to die? Okay.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, at that level, you're actually looking at child abuse. It's like, okay, well, don't touch that part of your body or you're going to burn in hell forever. And you're like 4 years old and you barely know what that thing between your legs is. And you wake up in the middle of the night freaking out that you're living in hell because, you touched yourself and you took a piss. That's child abuse.
Okay, we went to a really dark place.
Yeah, well,
welcome to the real world, Neo.
We're a dark podcast, and we talk about dark things.
Welcome to
Irongeek. We're a computer tech podcast, and yet here in the show notes we've got, the Pope said gays can marry. I mean, hello.
Look,
you open the rabbit hole, you're going to fall into it.
Look, the people who are interested in InfoSec stuff, they watch the first part of the podcast, and then when we get done with that shit, we progressively get more and more further away from the main reason we have the podcast.
We break out the beer and we start talking shit.
Oh, we have all the hacking shit, right? And then we have, I'm going to show you a tool, right? Not my tool. And then I'm going to talk about politics now, and that's where most people will just tune out. And if they're still there after that, we're going to talk about some general news and IT shit, which has nothing to do with InfoSec. And then we just get to other shit. And other shit is other shit. Whatever the fuck it is, doesn't fit in any other category.
Why is Elon Musk so chicken shit that he won't answer my emails about electric wheelchairs?
Well,
what else is in the show notes?
That's pretty much it. You should get your electric wheelchair and you should combine it with parts from like an electric bike and make it go really fast.
It's been done. The problem is it's money, really, honestly. There are some amazing chairs out there, but they're like $12,000, $14,000, $15,000. You might as well buy a car.
You should take a car and turn it into a wheelchair.
Already working on it. I got to come up with $30,000.
All right. So is there anything else to talk about in the show notes, or should I close this down?
I think you should close it down. I don't think we got anything else to talk about. Oh, wait, one more thing before you close it. Don't close it yet. The reason this show is named what it is this week is because reasons, and also because I'm dating an awesome chick, and I just put her name as the thing with the title. I thought I changed it, but Adrian still put it as the name of the cast. So we're just gonna
You
go
put
with that.
it in there. I just copy and paste, motherfucker.
Yeah, man, I changed it to like something else. Like it's even in the show notes. Like I changed it to "Being Bad is So Good," and I did that change at like 3:30. Yet somehow at 5:15, you managed to get the old name that I had in there.
I don't know. Something about your edit mode is fucked up.
Yeah. I noticed when I do it on my Android that it has the old version of the page up for about a minute or two, and then it reloads and has the new one.
You still know I love you in a mostly hetero way. Mostly hetero.
Only mostly hetero?
Well, you know, I don't have many options.
I am pretty. I mean, I have blue eyes. I look good in a dress.
I'm envisioning that, and I can't see that. Someone can call me various names, but I can't see you as a chick being particularly attractive to me.
Gotcha. All right. So we should end the cast now so that the people who are still watching the cast can go and do other things that is better than watching this cast.
All right. Let me find the right button. But everybody, check you out next Wednesday. Have a good night.
Thanks for watching our cast. We appreciate you.
Penis.